That song has the possibility of sounding like a complete downer. If this is the last song, if this is the last thing, if I'm gone. And if you think about it as if I'm gone, if there's nothing left, then it can be a real downer. That song is really powerful to me because it's about who am I, what am I about, and what am I leaving behind. So the topic of the talk today is taking the long view. And it's about the bigger picture. You know, Mother's Day, it's, mother, the baby is born, they become a mother, but that's not it. I have a baby who's 39, another one who's 24, and the project does not end 9 months after it begins. It's an ongoing process. So the long view is not what are you doing. The long view is what are you creating? What is it that you're bringing into the world? What are the things that you're doing that's going to make a change? Is the world a little bit brighter? Oceans and skies a little more blue. There's another line. Does a child stand a little bit taller because of something that you do? And we're all looking to share ourselves in a way that's bigger than today. And it's so easy to get distracted by today. This is what I want to have now. I want to have a car. I want to have a relationship. I want to have my foot stop hurting. I want to have this right now. And that's all important. But when you watch the Little League team practicing, and I think I've talked about this before, when they're talking about the fundamentals, one of the big things is the follow-through. Baseball season now. When you hit the ball, boom, that's where you hit the ball. But that doesn't make any difference. If you're just thinking about hitting the ball, what happens right after that is the ball kind of goes off, out of bounds, or it drops and dribbles back towards the pitcher or something like that. What you really want to do is to hit the ball a distance. And so for that, it's not just about making the connection, it's about the follow-through. It's about not looking at where you want to be when you hit the ball. It's about where you want the ball to be after it's been hit. What are we creating? What is it that we want to bring about in our lives? Because the whole teaching is about your new life begins with a new thought. You can create anything you want in your life. You can't necessarily create everything that you want in your life. There's a joke. If you had everything, where would you put it? The great philosopher Stephen Wright actually had two really great lines about that. My first favorite one is, I have the world's largest collection of seashells. I keep it scattered on beaches all over the world. And the other one is, I have a life-size map of the universe. Where are you? What is it that you're creating? Because you can create anything, even if you can't create everything. It's about choosing. We have two guys who are in the room today, and they're both applying for citizenship. And they both want to be citizens of the United States. This is all, of course, while the political stuff is going on, and I'm not sure I want to be a citizen of the United States. Zach's having second thoughts as well. And to me, there's this little competition that's going on completely in the privacy of my own mind, because I know they both are going to get citizenship. So the friendly competition is which one's going to get there first. And that's the follow-through. It's not, is it going to happen? Oh my God, we're going to get wrapped up in the details of, is this possible? Of course this is possible. Boom, follow-through. Then what's going to happen? What kind of a citizen are you going to be? What are you sharing with your new country? How are you bringing some gift into the world through all of that? You already are. You already are. But it's about seeing the follow-through. It's not about wanting to have a relationship or find a girl or find a boy. It's about, I want to be in a relationship for a long time, bringing more love into that relationship, into all of my relationships, and into the world. So what are you creating? That's the big question, but what are you creating? The part about that song that always chokes me up is about, does a child stand a little bit taller because of something that I said? And I spent about 10 years running a teen program. And the reason that that line gets me every time is because I have seen some of the echoes coming back. One of the coolest things about working with kids is that they don't stay kids for very long. You have to be part of the process. So there was he was in high school at the time. Troubled kid, really challenged, involved in cutting, and he was a suicide threat, and it was a real challenge. And I was able to be present with him and with several of the other kids who were involved in our teen program, and they were connecting together and centering into this love and this possibility and this potential where they could create something that they wanted out of their lives. There was this little blonde-haired girl, just a dumpling, and the first time that she came to our winter camp, she was kind of wandering around lost, not knowing what was going on, not really sure what was happening. Made it a specific point to single her out and just connect with her and get her to the point where she's calm and say, everything's gonna be okay. And she connected with the other kids in the group, and she connected and she grew and she deepened. And she is now a lovely young woman, and I think she's finished with college at this point. And she's just a transformation. And those are the little echoes that happen. The boy who was so troubled, a lot of prayer work that went on there. So they didn't know if he was going to go to college. They decided that he did want to go to college, then he decided which college he wanted to go to. Then it was West Point. Then he got an appointment to West Point. And now he's an officer. It's the follow-through. And the activities that you're involved in when you're doing them may not seem like they're dramatic and earth-shaking and going to change the world. But it's about bringing your best self to the moment. There's several organizations whose names end with anonymous that talk about doing things one day at a time. And I'm going to break that anonymous part, and I'm going to honor my partner, Reverend Dave, who yesterday celebrated 22 years of staying sober one day at a time.
Wow.
It's keeping your eye on the ball. Because every moment, before 22 years ago, he had a choice at every moment. And then he started making a different choice at every moment. But his life didn't change 22 years worth all at once. His life changed day by day, sometimes minute by minute, all the way through. And it's wonderful that we're talking about this on Mother's Day, because everybody here either is a mother or has had a mother and has been involved in that process of planting a seed idea and growing something new in the world. We all do it. That's our nature, is to create something and bring something new into being. So the question is, what are we doing? What are we bringing into creation? And how are we making that really, really important choice between what's fun and interesting and exciting and gratifying today and what's going to serve us in the long run? Because there's always that choice. There is always that choice. There's a coffee cake in the other room. I like coffee cake. I'm not going to eat any of the coffee cake. It's not because I don't want any of the coffee cake. It's because tomorrow I do not wish to have had the coffee cake today. And it's about making those choices. What's going to work now and ongoing? And that's not to say we just need to live our lives for the future. Oh, I'm going to invest everything into what's going on later. And the word is sacrifice. I'm going to sacrifice now so that we have that later. My mother-in-law she was huge about sacrifice. That was the language that she loved to use. So, I've sacrificed. And then, of course, her other favorite word was entitled. Because she had sacrificed, she was entitled to certain things. And it was completely bizarre to me. It's like, it's not a sacrifice, it's a choice. If you are choosing to give up something fun in your life so that your children can have something, that's wonderful. But don't say, oh, I could have joy in my life, but I'm giving it up to give something to them so that they'll owe me. Acknowledge what it is that you're doing. What will make me most joyous today is to not do this thing that would be temporarily wonderful for me now. It will make me more joyous to do something on behalf of somebody else, and the joy will be reflected back in the success or the accomplishment or the support that they have in doing that. Some people say that New Thought is a self-centered spiritual practice, to which I say, amen. The person who runs across the street and pushes somebody out of the way of the bus is doing it because that's what they want to do. Do they want to be in the situation where there's somebody about to get run over by a bus? No, that wasn't what they were hoping for. That's not what they were praying for. But in that situation, their highest and best, their idea of who they wanted to be, what they wanted to bring to that situation, was to be the person who's taking that action, to bringing that good, to supporting that other individual. And sometimes it ends well and sometimes it doesn't end well, but we're always doing what we want to be doing. And that doesn't necessarily, I'm just to double back here, that does not necessarily mean that whatever it is that we want to be doing in the moment is necessarily going to be the best for it. It's not necessarily going to be the highest for everybody who's involved. Go to a meeting of people that ends with anonymous, and you will hear lots of stories about things that were not really serving the larger community. But we all get to choose. What is it that we are bringing into life? Let go of the idea and the attachment to what it has to look like, to that it needs to be great now or it needs to be great in the future. Just identify what it is that you're creating. What is it that Spirit is calling you to bring into life? There's one thing that I know without any doubt, without any hesitation, without any question. Even though there are more than 7 billion people on the planet, no two are identical. You ever met identical twins? Mm-hmm. By the time they're 30, they're similar twins. Even the ones who try and be identical, they're differences. And they have exactly the same DNA. They have exactly the same, in many cases, upbringing. And yet they become different. Because each one of us, regardless of how we start out, is a unique combination of those gifts, talents, skills, abilities, qualities, and characteristics. The reason you are here is because the infinite had need of an instrument here in the form of you. Your gift might be to change the world. Your gift might be to demonstrate how you can live on the beach with no job and no responsibilities, seemingly forever. I don't know. I don't know. It's your responsibility to discover what your gift is. I can't look at somebody and say, oh, they're wasting their life. I can't look at somebody who's living under an underpass and say, oh, that's not a good use of God's gift. Because I don't know the rest of their story. I don't know that encounter that they're liable to have that they wouldn't have if they weren't there, that'll bring something new and wonderful and joyous into life. It's not my business. So, how do you figure out what your gift is, what your path is, what it is that you're supposed to be doing? And that's a dangerous word. What am I supposed to be doing? You're not supposed to be doing anything. You're supposed to be here. You are living your life. There are lots of different possibilities. The thing that you get to do is make choices. Because we're conscious beings, we can make conscious choices. Because we are conscious of our creative potential, we have to acknowledge that we are always creating something in our lives. The creative process works when we acknowledge it and we grab it and we seize it and we say, this is what I set my intention for, and I allow it to come into being. And it works when we say, yeah, sure, like whatever. It works either way. So it is our opportunity to understand that's the process that's going on, and then dive into that process. If I don't know what it is that I'm supposed to be doing, and boy, oh boy, have there been a bunch of times that I have not known what it is that I'm doing. Some very recent, but The idea is to let go of the idea that I should know what I'm doing and open myself to the possibility that whatever it is that's best for me to be about is available. Because one of the experiences that I can create for myself is insight. I can create the experience of guidance. If I'm not already in the midst of a project or a process or birthing something, I can sit quietly, shut up, let go of all of the opinions that I have running around in my head. Oh, and by the way, if they're not my own opinions, I can find lots of other people who are willing to share their opinions. If you don't know what you want to do with your life, I'm sure you can find a life partner who will tell you. To let go of the idea of what it should be, or what it ought to be, or what it needs to be, and to settle into the gift that we are. That unique combination that we bring to the experience. And sometimes it's the position, sometimes it's the experiences that we've had, sometimes it's the path that we've been on. The reason that I was able to share and connect so well with some of these kids in the teen program was because I had, just by coincidence, been on a path that gave me a tremendous deep rapport with them. There's a girl who was involved in the first teen program I went to. It was down in the Florida Keys, and got to be friends with her there, and was involved with her in the teen program out in California. We went to an annual program, and there was a whole bunch of stuff that had gone on with her dad, and I knew her dad and some of the dysfunction that had happened there. And in one of the works she got assigned 3 times to be at random. 3 times at random she got assigned to be in the family with me. So we spent a week together. And one of the workshops that we did was a forgiveness workshop where she needed to bring up the stuff that had hurt her so much, and everybody got assigned to do role playing. And I got to role play her dad. And I wasn't just there as somebody who was like conveniently the advisor in her teen group. I actually knew the story. And I could be authentic in mirroring him. And that opened up a world of healing for her and for me. So it seems like that was just the coincidence of how that came together. It wasn't. It's never a coincidence. When we try and force it, who knows what's going to happen. When we allow Spirit to guide us to the next step and the next step and the next step, we open ourselves up to all sorts of possibilities. So I'm going to start with an assumption. Here's the assumption. You are a gift. Say that for me. I am a gift.
I am a gift.
Now say it again. No, really, I am a gift.
No, really, I am a gift.
Yes, I am a gift.
Yes, I am a gift.
Yeah, you are a gift. You are a gift, and you deserve to share yourself with those around you, and you completely deserve all of the good that bringing that gift into the world generates. So hold that thought. You are a gift. So it is.